Welcome back, sports fans. This week's video is on seat recovering. Grab yourself a cup of tea, sit down, relax and enjoy. Welcome back to another exciting video. Today we will be recovering seats. This seat, although it may look okay from a distance, it's actually not. And I'll tell you why. Because it lets in water. And also, if you look up here, you can see that I've managed to poke a hole in it. So, for those reasons, well, mostly because it soaks water in, what it does is like a sponge, the water goes into it, right? And then it'll look dry, but when you sit in it, the water comes back out of it through the seams and stuff, and you end up getting bloody soaked. Looks like you wet yourself, so that's no use. So we're going to recover it. The tools you'll need for this today are a pick, like so, or alternatively, a small flat blade screwdriver, and that's to take the staples out the back. All these staples need to come out, obviously, to get the cover off, okay? So we'll start with that, but whilst we're on the subject of tools, other tools you'll need are a staple gun, preferably. This is the one that I use. I had another one, which was not really suitable. This one here. This is more like for brad nails, and it's also for narrow staples. If you look at the width of those staples, they're too narrow, and it's also too powerful. What it was doing is it was punching the staples right through the vinyl, and it was just an absolute nightmare. So we won't be using that one. That one's going up for sale shortly if anybody's looking. It also fires brads, nails, that is. So we won't be using that. What else do we need? You can use some trim fix adhesive to stick the vinyl down onto the seat base. I generally don't bother, to be honest, because when you take it off again, it pulls half the foam out. Not that you should be needing to do it soon, but you know, you might need it at one time to do it. So I don't generally bother with that. The other thing you'll need is a vinyl, obviously. Get a stretch vinyl if you can, and a heat gun to heat it up to go around the corners. It makes it a lot easier if you just give it a quick heat with the heat gun just to soften it up, you know, and it'll pull and it'll stretch better. So I'll go and check that I've got enough vinyl to do this before I start, or that'll be a pointless video. And then I'll start taking the staples out. I've got plenty of vinyl, I think. There's my foot for scale, size 12. So I'll probably get enough vinyl to cover about 6 seats. But that's fine. I'll do the front one, I'll do the back one, and we'll get cracking. I'm also going to do the back seat, just so to match. The vinyl obviously won't have any joins in them. The back seat was the same, soaked in water, let it all back out. So, I mean, although they look pretty good, Nick, they're getting recovered. So to get the nails out, as you can see, I'm just putting the screwdriver underneath them, like so, and then pulling them up. What happens is one end of the staple generally comes out, leaving the other end in the base. So get yourself a pair of pliers and then just pull them out with them, and you'll be done in no time. There's nothing really rocket science to it. These staples are pretty rusty, so some of them might snap, you know, because they're corroded. But if they do that, there's nothing much you can do about it other than just punch whatever's left into the seat or pull it out with the pliers if you can. Look at that. Let's get the original flipping Allen key in it from 1991. That's quite impressive. So I'll take the rest of these all out and then we'll measure up the new cover. Okay, so we've got all the staples out, and now the cover, as you can see, look at all the rust in there off the staples in the back. There's a few that kind of stuck in here, so I'll either punch them in or pull them out if I can. It's better to pull them out if possible, but I'll take it off and see what like the rest of the seat is. Oh, it's quite tidy under there. You can see that green stuff, that's probably from where the water's been in. Quite surprised it's not a lot worse, to be honest. given the fact that it was like a sponge, you know. But it's all along the front there. That's just the way it is. But yeah, the base is okay. It doesn't really need any repairs. Sometimes they'll wear through the front here. And if they do that, just get yourself another bit of foam, thin foam, put it underneath this stuff, and then just tape it over. That's what I've done in the past, and it's worked fine. You can't see it, you know, because it's spongy. As long as you don't like tape it till it's like tight, you know what I mean? You're just holding it in place until the cover's on. So yeah, base is okay. This part's okay, I believe. Like I say, there's one there sticking out. A couple of wee old staples sticking out because, like I say, they're all corroded. You know, so like half of the staple that's in there, when you try and pull it out, it just snaps. So I'll try and get them all out. Then I'll give this a quick tidy up. A quick either a grind or maybe use a file or something just to get it kind of smooth-ish. We can use the old seat cover for a pattern for cutting out the material for the new one, but always make sure you leave plenty of excess to cut back. You'd be wanting at least another couple of inches, at least another inch on top of what this here is, you know. This one also, having been sewn together, might not be the easiest to template, but that's just the way of it. There's another hole there. Never noticed that one before. I'm sure I would have if it was on the bike. Must have just torn when I took it off. Anyway, that's the seat cover there. Seat base here. I'll spend a good 10 minutes, 15 minutes pulling out these little bits and pieces. I've got some fine needle nose pliers. I'll see if they'll pull them out. The best way to do it is to kind of lever it against the base, and then we'll cut our fabric. I'll also have to take this cover off as well, so I'll do that. I'm not going to video it as well, not much point. As you can see, the staples are pretty rusty in there as well. Don't actually know if you get stainless staples. I suppose you probably would if you're that fussed, but like I say, this has been on. This looks like it's been on here for a good 15 odd years anyway, without giving up completely. So I'll take that cover off, take this cover off, clean up all this, and then we'll get measuring. This is the part of foam I was on about that sometimes wears through in the edge. You can see it's actually folded over the lip at the front, because that's generally the bit that takes the most wear in the seat, you know, about rubbing against the tank and what have you. There's a little tear there. I'll maybe just spray a little bit of glue. I've got like Trim Fix adhesive. I used it for my van, for lining my van, so I'll put a little spray in there and then just stick that down. You can also use it if the foam becomes detached from the base, you know, like in there. You could spray a bit in there as well, which I probably will do, just to keep it stuck down, you know. Right, don't have enough waffle. I'm going to take this back seat off and see what it looks like. That's the back seat off as well. You can see where somebody's taped this over the edge previously. There's still bits of masking tape there. Whatever it is he's used, looks like masking tape. So obviously I'll get rid of that. But this one's also quite loose in the base. So that'll definitely I'll get some spray adhesive under there just to hold the foam down, so it doesn't lift again, you know. But again, it's not too bad, you know. I expected it to be a bit mouldy, with it being wet for so often, but it's not too bad at all. You can see where he's marked out the line on the seat cover for the cover. But yeah, I'll get this tidied up. There's not too many sticking through in the bottom, but I'll get my needle nose pliers out anyway. And if there is anything, I'll get them pulled. I had to take off this cross brace. It was attached at the front here because the cover was underneath it. The staples were underneath the cover, so I just whipped that off in the meantime. It'll also make it easier for putting a new cover on, for getting access for stapling it, you know, because there's only like probably 5mm between the edge of the seat and the start of that bar. So tidy this all up and then get them cut, and then we'll come back. Okay, I've pulled the actual seats off, and there's two reasons for that. One of them is to get the back end of these rusty staples that we're sticking through the inside, and the other was, well, that's as much glue as it gets from the factory by the looks of it, which is pretty laughable, to be honest. That's hardly going to hold anything together, is it? So I'll tidy up these couple of bits that I have to do with the staples, and then I'll glue this back on. It's contact adhesive. It's called Trim Fix, and what you do is you spray that, leave it for like 5 minutes, spray that, leave it for 5 minutes, well, spray them both at the same time, leave them for 5 minutes, and then join them together, and you'll never get it off again. So it takes a good hold, you know, and then just press down on it to get these parts into the grooves, etc. Okay, so I'm away to do that next. Don't do inside. Whatever you do, this stuff goes absolutely everywhere, and it will not clean off unless you've got like acetone or something. So I'm going to do it outside. Okay, right, we've got the bases stuck back on, and what a job that was. You can see there's plenty at the back here, and at the front I've added a couple of bits of tape because I'm going to tape along this edge. I thought I better stop before I go right along, just to give it a smoother transition from the foam to come round this corner. Okay, I mean, there's nothing wrong. It's the same place as it was before it came off. As you can see, that could maybe go going down a little bit, but it's too late now because it's never going to come off now. I wouldn't think. I could possibly get some more adhesive in there and just stick that bit down a bit. In fact, I'll do that just now. So I'm just going round the edges with tape just to give it a smooth transition between the foam and the corners. These are the bits you really want to watch, where there's like a sharp corner, because that's where it'll wear through. So make sure you get tape on there. Yeah, I'll actually maybe put a little bit more on here on this corner just to build it up a bit, because I don't want a sharp like fold over, you know. This bit here is a bit short. That's probably when I put the foam on. I didn't push it forward far enough, but it was okay at the back. I've done right the way around the whole seat. I've done both seats, as you can see. Like I say, it's not really needed, but it'll just help it, and it'll be a smoother curve for the vinyl to go over, you know, than a sharp edge, if you like. So, like I say, I'll sort this bit out and stick the last couple of bits of tape on here. This is the one bit I'm still to do. Like I say, you can see it's a little bit short there. That was my fault, but well, it'll be fine with a bit of tape on it. It's good enough for the last upholsterer. And that's the vinyl cut. As you can see, I've left plenty around the edges. Another thing to note, see when you're cutting these off the roll, make sure you cut them in the same orientation. Like, don't put that one that way and then that one that way on the roll of the vinyl, or it'll just look crap, because there's any grain in the vinyl going in a direction. You don't want it to go in different directions, if that makes sense. So this one here is maybe a little bit tighter by the time it's all spread out, but I'm sure we'll manage. So what I'll do is I'll trim up the corners a little bit just to make it slightly easier. I'll make it the same all the way around the actual old cover, maybe this much, and then it's ready for fitting. So here we are. This is the vinyl, obviously. This is inside the vinyl. So when you come to attach this vinyl to the seat base, what I usually do, okay, is I'll start at the back of the front. See where my fingers are? I'll stick a staple in there and a staple in there. Okay, obviously make sure it's tight between them this way. And then I'll come around to I'll turn the seat over, should I say, and then I'll flatten it into the base, because you don't want it like a bowstring across the top where you'll never pull it down. Yeah, push it down towards the base and then just lift it. Well, tighten it at the front so that you're pulling it off the base, like so. And you ideally want to be maybe an inch off the base when you staple your front two in. Okay, so as you look at the side, I'll maybe take this off, it'd be easier to explain. As you look at the side, you'll have your two staples in the front, 2 staples in the back, and your vinyl will be coming down here, but it'll be about an inch off this surface, okay? The reason for that is the vinyl stretches, yeah? And once you've done that, you'll, like, obviously this will be in like mid-air. What you do is, you get your 2 at the front, 2 at the back. What you do is you go to the middle, which would be the lowest point, which would be about here, where my finger is, right? Heat up the vinyl here, then pull it over in the centre, pull it down, couple of staples, do the same on the other side, in the middle, couple of staples, right? So then your vinyl will be tight across here, yeah, and it'll be probably going like this up towards the front and the back. After you've done that, get your heat gun out, heat up this corner here, and pull the vinyl in this direction towards the front, round that corner at the angle, and then stick 2 staples in, roughly where my fingers are. Do the same at the back here. Oh, sorry, do that one, do the other front. That'll tighten it from here to here. That should be fairly tight by this point. And then do the same at the back, pull it this direction, pull it across, heat it up obviously, pull it across this direction, couple of staples here. Now what you might find happens is, if you haven't left enough room, this bit at the top will go saggy because you're pulling it back. You know what I mean? You're pulling it in both directions. Don't worry if it does. Just take these 2 staples out, pull them down a bit and re-staple them. And then once you've done that, you'll have, the cover will be fairly tight at the middle. It'll be tight across here. It'll be tight across here, tight across here. Same on the other side. And then you'll have your staples. You'll have one in the middle, couple at the corner. What to do is, don't just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Go to the middle, heat it slightly, pull it down, stick one in the middle between the 2 staples. Same here. Stick one in the middle between the 2 staples. Heat it obviously and pull it. Same on the other side. Pull, pull, staple, staple. Okay, and then just work between the centres. So like that's your first centres. Your next staple will go in here, say, and then go between these 2, couple staples, these 2, couple of staples. I'm sure you get what I'm getting at here without me having to mansplain it. Then once you've done that, go all the way around it, obviously splitting the centres all the way around, and it should be nice and tight. If you have to take it off at the back, if it's loose at the top here or whatever, just, like I say, take it off, pull them in before you start going along the top row, obviously. Okay, now we're just a way to start. Before you do, just double check that you get enough room around the edges, especially at these tight areas at the sides. You know, that's should be enough, hopefully. That side there should be enough as well. You can see it's a wee bit tight there, but there'll be enough to cover it. Same with that one. So what I'm going to start doing is putting my 2 in up here. Okay, I've got 2 in the back, up there, and I've also got 2 in the front, as you can see. So what I'll start doing now is, if you look in there, you'll see I mentioned earlier you have to sort of keep the vinyl off the seat. So you can see there's enough there to pull it down in the low areas, which is what I'll be doing next. I'll start in this corner here, and I'll pull that over, and then I'll start in this corner here. And as I pull them, I'll be pulling it this way, and I'll be pulling this one this way, and I'll get a staple round about that point area. I'll do the same on both sides. I've got my heat gun, so I'll obviously heat it up first and stretch it, and then we'll be good to go. I'll show you when I've done that. Right, I've got 2 in the middle, as you can see. I heated this whole centre section up so that it would stretch. Now you'll see these bits here are looking pretty rough, but that's okay, because what we'll do is we'll heat them, and the next one that we'll do is the points, the low points of the seat. or the high points, depending how you look at it, which is this bit and this bit. And what we'll do is, like I said, we'll pull it this way and we'll pull it this way. I said earlier on that we'd move on to that, but I forgot that we're going into the centre first. You can see I've stuck a couple in the centre on both sides. And now I'll start this corner where my thumb is. Like I say, I'll get the heat gun onto it so that I can pull out these folds here. You can see these folds? Heat them up and that'll stretch. That'll stretch it right round the corner. And then we'll be good to go, you know. So I'll do that next. Okay, now you can see that I've done the corners here. I did both corners. And as I said, I heated it all up and pulled it towards the corner from the centre. Yeah. So now that I've done that, you can see it's starting to take shape a little bit. So what I'll do next is I'll go between this one and this one, stick a couple in the centre there, then a couple in the centre there, and I'll do the same on that side, a couple there, but I'll heat the vinyl up, of course. And what else I'm going to do is I'm going to cut away some of this excess, because I've got far too much here, and it'll just prove troublesome when I try to get it around the corners and what have you. So I'll do the sides first, in between these two sets of staples, and then I'll come around the top here, and I'll pull this corner in again at the top here where my thumb is. I'll heat that up, pull that over, same with the other side, pull that over, and then I'll work around the corners, that corner, and the two front corners, and then I'll just have the back line to do, which I'll do again, like the two staples are here, centre, pull it, you know. Heat's your friend, heat gun helps massively. Okay, so I've heated these corners and pulled them in. You'll see you have to kind of overlap it slightly, but what to do is if you start in the middle, you'll get a staple in like there, and then pull the other one across it, get your next staple in. You can see that there's no folds at the edges, and you can see it's pretty tight down that line now. So I've got this front bit to do still, this front two corners, but at the back here I've just got the centre piece to pull in, this bit where my fingers are. So what I'll do is I'll heat them up and then give them a slight stretch in, and then we'll staple them all down. So I've now got the back done, plenty of staples in there to hold it together. So it's just the same again on the front. Like I say, I'll start pulling this corner here, same on the other side where you can see it doubling over, pull them in, same as I did in the back, and then staple them along the front, and then that's it. So there we have it, one Gsxr seat recovered. It's looking alright, I'm quite happy with that, to be honest. I think it's a decent enough job. You know, there's no bits hanging out of it anywhere, and obviously underneath stapled a plenty. I've trimmed it back, the excess of the cover, obviously, just beyond the staples. So that should do that one. Now I've just got the other one to do, sitting over there. I'm not going to bother boring you to death by filming it, but it just shows you it's not that hard to do these things if you've got the right tools. And the right tools are one of these, a heat gun, staples, and stretchable vinyl. Okay, thanks for watching. Cheers, bye. Then what you do is you drop it in the ground and go right through the bloody vinyl to the tape and have to do it all over again. Magic. So that's the seats finished. I recovered the front one. As you can see, no wear throughs on the front or the back. Can't remember which bit it was, but I think it was the back actually. But yeah, I redid it. Better the second time actually, I think. But plenty of staples. That cover's not coming off anywhere, so I'm just going to set it there just now. That's it on the bike. Job's a good one. Happy days, man.